Welcome back to the Two Vits Talking Shit podcast. My name is Michael, and this is my co-host. His name is
Mike.
And we are a father and son who love to talk football. That's what we like to do. American football. We don't talk about that other crappy European football, but we do talk about American football. And week 10 just passed, which means we got a lot to discuss about football. We're moving in to the second half of the season. We've gotten rid of teams. We don't want to talk about teams anymore. We got teams that we do want to talk about. We got some sauce to talk about this week. There's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly. There really is.
We're talking about Sauce, like Sauce Gardner?
Sauce Gardner was ugly, I'd argue. He was ugly this week in his debut with the Colts. He did not have a great game. He didn't have a bad game, but he dropped an interception that he could have had, as well as he failed to cover a player in the end zone. He got worked.
He fell down.
Yeah,
he fell down several times.
He got worked. So he didn't look too great in his debut with the Colts, but he won a game. So it's the first game he's won all season because he didn't get to play in the game the Jets won. So good for him. Right. But I'd say he's ugly. There's some other crazy things that have happened. But before we get too into that, Dad, give him the kind of rundown of what we do every week. Give him the rundown.
The rundown of what we do. We just talk football. We're just a dad and a son. We're two Vits talking shit, and we just cover the NFL. We cover hot topics. We cover our teams.
Yes,
the Lions, as people can tell, with the Lions hat, and the Raiders, which is a tough one for me this year. But we will plug through, and I will continue to give some feedback on what I see. We try to pick up a few hot topics each week. Give our feedback on that. Let you know what we think about the upcoming games for the week upcoming. And that's it. Hopefully you learn a little bit. Hopefully, if you don't learn anything, you at least have fun listening to us. And here we go. Let's get after it.
Should we start with our teams this week?
Absolutely. Let's start with our teams.
All right.
Let's start with mine.
The Raiders.
So we can go end on a high note when we're talking our team. So as per usual, my team lost.
As per usual. That's not a fun thing to say about your team.
Which means your team won. Fantastic.
The Lions won, yes.
And so where I'm at with the Raiders at this point in the season is I don't see a lot of hope at all. 2 weeks ago, we got probably the number one and number two best tight end in the league. Our best player by far, Brock Bowers, tight end, back. And he was a monster 2 weeks ago. He had like 150 yards catching, he had 3 touchdowns. He was by far the go-to for our fledgling, terrible quarterback, Geno Smith. And as I've said for longer than I can remember anybody saying it, and it is now what everybody says. I don't think I was the originator of it, but a tight end is a quarterback's best friend.
Yes, sir.
I threw the rock a little bit back in high school, and I was not very good, I will be honest. But I did know where my tight end was, and I threw to that guy a lot. I needed him. And so it boggles my mind that last week, Brock Bowers had, I think, 3 targets and 1 reception on the week. And I mean, I don't know. The week before, he had 3 touchdowns, and it was awesome. And while they were both losses, it just continues to prove what I think is a lost season. And the other note for this week that I'd like to speak on, and I really haven't spoke a lot about it because I have very high hopes for Ashton Genty, a Boise alumni, and somebody who certainly in my area where I live was big hopes for him. And it was a little head scratching that the Raiders would take a running back at number 6 overall in the draft this year. I think some of that was dictated by other selections by other teams. And so there were some players that were gone. But having said that, I felt awesome. I thought, holy cow, this might be what the Lions did a few years ago when they used their number one pick in the draft on Jahmyr Gibbs. And I thought, holy cow, this might be that. And there are definitely some challenges on the offensive line from the Raiders. And there are some challenges, I think some play calling that I think contribute to a lot of what's happening. But the longer the season goes on and the more times I watch him run the ball, I'm not convinced that he's going to be what I thought he was. And really what it comes down to in what I'm saying now is his vision and where he chooses to run the ball has been disappointing. I've yelled at the TV screen. I've shared with you every game. Why does he turn the ball up inside? Some of that's play calling. It's designed to go inside with some of the zone read blocks and some of that. But there are designed outside of the tackle runs where it's clear what's happening with blocking, and the hole is outside. And I do not understand why he can't run outside, but he turns it up inside, and it mind-boggling. Well, I
Yeah,
don't
it's rough.
understand if it's the vision or if it's how it's being coached, but there's so much opportunity for him to get outside the tackles and run the ball, and he never takes advantage of it. And at this point, I got to put some of that blame at least on him. And then so
Yeah.
that's kind of been my disappointment after week 10. And I hadn't said anything about it a whole lot, but that's my diagnosis now, that I'm not sure that he's going to pan out. And so a little bit bummed about that. I'm hoping that in these last third of the season that we'll see some changes. Because really, if at the end of the day we find out that we do have a good running back and we've got some stuff to build on, I'll feel a little bit better about things, because I really was happy about that pick. But that's my
I
Raiders jabbering.
if I had to
And
comment on it, I do think he's a good running back. I think he's being poorly coached. Like
okay,
you
so
don't have a season as historic as he had in college if you're not a good running back, right? I think he is, especially on a team that had nothing but Ashton Genty on it, right? Like it was him
mhm.
every game, all game in college, and he still found a way to do that.
I,
So
I agree. I'm a
if
huge Ashton Genty
for,
fan.
for, for
I'm not.
me, when I look at it, I think he's being coached
Uh-huh,
poorly. I think they're coaching him
uh-huh,
to do things that are stupid, and he's taking
uh-huh.
that coaching and using it, and that's why why he's playing poorly. I think
So so
they need to just unleash
so
the beast
on
and stop telling him what to do. Let him go.
so on plays though, where I clearly watch what's happening block scheme wise,
Yeah.
where there's a third of the football field outside of the tackles with nobody in it but a lead blocker out there on one-on-one block, and that's all there is, and he decides to cut it up inside. That's the coach's fault.
I'm not sure. Maybe it just might be like people in his ears, right? The way he's being coached in practice, the things he's being told to do that's just messing with how his instincts are. That's how
Yeah, and
his
so
decision making is wrong inherently because he's being coached to make the wrong decision. That's what
yeah,
I
and so
think's
I
happening.
and so I lean towards you and have the entire season, except as I've really, like I said, I've really stopped and looked at, and we don't have the all 22. I don't have
We don't.
access to everything that's happening. But when I stop and I watch a lot of the plays where in real time I'm screaming and thinking, "Oh my gosh, what are we doing?" When I go back and watch, and I'm
Hmm.
actually watching what's happening with the guards and tackles
Yeah.
and the center, and what's happening with the tight end, and what's happening as much as I can see on the screen, and it's clear as day. And there's a decision that's made by somebody who I believe is, you're right, a good running back, and he turns it back into what's coming at him, as opposed
Yeah.
to,
Going
he
straight
is
up.
5'8", he's 5'8" and like 215 pounds. And so while he's a muscular, strong guy, he's not a ground and pound guy. And
Well, he
and
was in
he's
college,
proving that. It's
right?
not.
And that's what's
Yeah, I
scary
guess so,
about
but
it.
this also isn't college. I mean, these
Exactly.
are, so I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm anxious
Exactly.
to see. We'll see. Maybe I'll update you later on in the season as I continue to watch it. But this is the first time all year where I've really called him out, and I'm really hoping that we're going to see some changes in that.
I hope
So
some
that's
changes are
enough.
made too. All
That's
right.
enough on the Raiders. Let's wash our hands of that. Moving on. Let's go with the Lions.
Well, as I've said almost every week this year, the Lions won in a very convincing fashion. They looked great. They looked awesome. You cannot complain about, what was it, 44 points scored, 22 given up. So we
Hmm.
outscored our opponents by double. I think the biggest story to come out of this week for the Lions, because I don't want to harp on them too long. I mean, I could say anything, but the biggest story
Hmm.
is Dan Campbell took the play calling role away from John
Hmm.
Morton, our OC, and decided to do it himself. And ta-da! The offense woke up again. They looked like the Lions offense usually does. He got JMO more involved, 6 receptions, 110 yards, and a tutty for JMO.
Hmm.
He stuck with, the tried and true method of give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs, and it worked out
Yeah.
great. They played amazing. Everybody looked good. St. Brown had some uncharacteristic drops that we've noticed. It seems like this year he's been having a
Yeah.
lot more uncharacteristic drops. On third down,
Yeah.
especially, you notice it now. Goff is not throwing the ball to St. Brown as much as he used to. The ball on third down, I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, has been thrown to Sam Laporta more often than any other player. When in the past,
what position does Sam Laporta play,
tight
by the
end.
way?
Tight end.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So
Carry on. Okay.
in the past, St. Brown was the guy. No matter where St. Brown was, no matter how many guys were on him, you'd throw the ball to him, he'd catch it. But this season, it seems as if a little bit of confidence has been lost in St. Brown, and it's because he's been dropping the ball more. But, other than that, not really much else to say. Defensively, Jack Campbell is, in my opinion, the fucking baddest linebacker in the league. He's insanely talented. He's the other sneaky steal that we got in the draft with Jahmyr Gibbs. Jack Campbell, on I think it was a 2-point conversion attempt, stood a running back running at him at full speed up and threw him to the ground alone, which is insane. You can't usually do that, but he grabbed him and threw him to the ground. So that was sick. All in all, I think things are working out. I think John Morton should not have the OC or should not be holding the play calling anymore. Dan Campbell should handle it for the rest of the year. Shepard's doing a good job defensively. I don't think the defense...
On defense?
Yeah, I mean, the defensive line needs to wake up. The last couple of weeks, they've played pretty poor, not getting as many sacks as they were. They're not getting as many pressures as they were. But otherwise, it's a well-oiled machine, man. Things are looking good. This week against the Eagles, it's going to be a challenge because it's in Philadelphia. It is probably going to be snowing, I'd argue. So we'll see how this game goes. But yeah, it's been a good time. I've been watching. I've been enjoying it. Nothing negative to say about the Lions this week, really.
Okay, very good. Cool.
I do have negative things to say about the broadcast, but
well, we'll keep that moving. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to a couple of topics I think are pertinent that we could touch on quickly. We lost our second head coach of the year in the NFL.
Rest in peace. I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Well, good. Then hold on a second. We'll get to them. The New York Football Giants fired their head coach, Brian Daboll, who this has been a topic we've discussed throughout the season.
Yep.
They have performed poorly. We won't go too far back into the offseason, but they started out with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback this year. They drafted in last year's draft Jackson Dart. And we knew it was only a matter of time before he played. He played probably a little sooner than I thought he was going to play, which I thought when that happened, that was going to probably save Brian Daboll's job, along with Jackson Dart, their quarterback. They had a rookie running back by the name of Scattaboo.
Cam Scattaboo,
who's phenomenal. And those two rookies were an injection of life and energy. And I think they only won one game with them, maybe 2 games with them, I think. But it was more the energy that they brought. And unfortunately, the Giants fell flat on their face after that injection of energy. Cam Scattaboo, unfortunately, was lost for the season with a very significant nasty leg injury 3 weeks ago. And Jackson Dart plays quarterback like he's the middle linebacker, and which means that he takes a lot of hits. He runs the ball and does not mind putting his head in there to get extra yards. And he went out with a concussion last week. And the Giants lost, I think, their 3rd game of the season when leading by 10 points or more in the 4th quarter and melted down once again. And I think that was the end of the line for Daboll. I thought that he was going to save his job. I think we talked about it maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago.
We have. I've been discussing.
If they just kept the energy up, even if they didn't win a ton of games, if they saw progression from their team and Jackson Dart, their quarterback, that wins and losses would matter less than sort of the feel and direction of the team. And when you lose 3 games when leading by significant points in the 4th quarter, and you, I think even, Jackson Dart getting hurt is almost being blamed on Daboll by play calling and whatnot. Yeah. The feel of the team went from this ultimate high. Like, it was great. It was almost fun to watch them. Almost a college atmosphere, of just fun. And within just a matter of a couple weeks, all that life got sucked out of them. And at some point, the owners have to look around and go, how is and why is this happening? Head coach, there you go. And it's kind of a bummer because Brian Dable drafted Jackson Dart, and there are memes and pictures all over of how he looked at Jackson Dart sometimes on the sidelines. I mean, it was
he was
silly.
the savior. He was supposed to save his job.
Yeah. And it was oogly moogly googly eyes, man, that he looked at that guy, and for good reason. I think it was going to be the save of his job, and I think that he really looked at him as something he could build on, but just did not work out that way. And so Brian Dable got fired, and I don't like to see a whole lot of coaches get fired. I think he's a good coach, but he's going to have to find work somewhere else.
Yeah, so my thoughts on it, right, are, I've been saying Brian Dable should not be the one fired all year. I mean, now after the fact and kind of looking into it, I can see why they fired him. But their GM, I think it's Joe Schoen, right? That's their GM?
No, Shade. No, it's Shade.
Yeah, he needs to be fired. He definitely needs to be fired. There's a lot of footage of him saying, having severe disagreements. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of footage of him having severe disagreements with the way they drafted players in the draft. One of which saying he didn't want Malik Neighbors, and instead he wanted Bears wide receiver, not Romo Dunze, the other one. Either way, essentially what's coming out of it is I think the GMs make poor decisions, extremely poor decisions. And without Dable being there and Dable making the decisions on who they drafted, because Dable drafted really good players. Dable had great success with his drafts, in my opinion. That team would be even worse off than they are now. Yes. Dable's players are good. They play good. And I think that's why I wanted them to keep Dable, because it was Dable's team, right? And the players that Dable drafted have been proven to be good. Now, on the other hand, Dable got Jackson Dart killed. Jackson Dart got injured because
not literally.
Yeah,
he did not literally die.
Yeah, but his decision making as a coach and his play calling decisions got Jackson Dart injured and concussed in so many situations and bad situations. There was like a season high 25 designed quarterback rushes for Jackson Dart, and he only played it half the season. Like, it shouldn't have been happening. Which is why I think he was canned, right?
Yeah, well, I think he saw one avenue to keep his job, and it was on the back of Jackson Dart, and that's something that Jackson Dart did well.
Yeah, well, if Jackson Dart got his head ripped off, which he did multiple times, then there's no avenue left. So either way, it's rough for Dable, right? Malik Neighbors goes out with a season-ending injury, Scatterby goes out with a season-ending injury, and then Jackson Dart's injured left and right, but he's still playing. So he was kind of doomed from the start to get fired, but if their GM doesn't get fired at the end of the season, I think the Giants have set themselves up for even more failure in the future. The good news about the Giants is they have a phenomenal defense for the most part. They play really well. If they decide to do the right thing, which is bench Russell Wilson and play Jameis Winston, they'll probably play a lot better football.
Okay. I got two. Well, go ahead. You done with that? Or?
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. Those are the things that you can look forward to as a Giants fan through the rest of the season. But
right, so to speak on both those things, Joe Schoen, the GM, was also the one who got rid of Barkley, Saquon Barkley, who traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, who helped win the Super Bowl last year, who ran for over 2,000
He's the best running back in the league last year by far.
Yeah. That's one. Two is that Dable was fired. They kept the GM, Joe Schoen, who is supposed to be reportedly in charge of hiring the next coaching regime. But I know now it's been reported that may actually not be the case, that they're going to keep Joe Schoen.
Good.
That the Mara family is actually they're having some health issues with who actually runs the team.
Okay.
And so I think there's some ambivalence about sort of what they're actually going to do, but right now leaving him as the stability. But I actually have heard that he's not going to be around, and that they actually may end up getting rid of him as well. But that he's the part they're going to keep. And then as far as backup quarterback, they actually benched Wilson this week. They actually promoted Jameis Winston is actually now going to be the starter this week.
Good.
Yeah, so Jameis Winston will be the starter this week in place of Jackson Dart, who he still is in concussion protocol. And so we will get to see Jameis Winston play for the Giants. And I think, honestly, if you throw Russell Wilson out there again, all you're going to get is a bunch of boos. There's no energy. Russell Wilson is
He looks
there's a no
confused
energy
out there.
guy.
He looks confused
Yeah,
out
and even if
there.
you get a confused, not really any better stats wise, and no better as far as wins and losses with Jameis Winston, we are going to have a hell of a good time watching it happen.
Jameis
'Cause
Winston
that guy
brings the
is
energy,
a
dude.
fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for me on the Giants, but a lot of moving parts there. I think there's going to be a lot of changes that'll happen
Hopefully.
in the remainder of this season and in the offseason. And I don't think Joe Shane, their GM, will continue to be there. I agree with you. He should have been gone as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of watching the Giants. I like Dart. I like Scattaboo. I like Winston. I liked everything that was going on for them. So it's a team I like to watch. And unfortunately, my girlfriend has decided she's a Giants fan now. So really get
we're
to
gonna
enjoy
talk
the
about
Giants.
that off the air. Okay. All right.
All right. Bring up your next topic since you didn't give me any topics, and that was my main topic.
Okay. Well, hey, just real quickly, I wanted to discuss the Travis Hunter injury. Travis Hunter, we have not talked a lot about him this season.
Ooh.
He is, real briefly, backstory. He is a player who is a bona fide, or at least attempting to be, a full-time two-way offense and defensive player.
Yes.
In college, he played at Colorado. He was successful at it. He literally played both ways almost the entire game, and he played some special teams, which is absolutely unheard of, especially at high level college football.
Yeah.
But was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars to do just that again. I don't think that experiment was fully played out. To give you quickly, he played a total of 7 games. He played 305 plays on offense, 156 plays on defense. He only had 45 targets. He plays wide receiver, and 28 catches and 1 touchdown, so not super productive. And on defense, he had 15 tackles, no interceptions or anything like that. And he ended up getting hurt in week 7, actually in practice. With a knee injury, actually had surgery on it this week. They put him on injury reserve, hoping it would get better. It did not.
Yep.
And so he actually, they shut him down for the season after surgery this last week. So he is not a big guy. He plays wide receiver and defensive back. And I'm not sure. I'm not ready to say yet because I haven't really heard it reported either that it was a fatigue injury. I think it was just a knee injury that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure a knee injury is going to do anything, certainly to help him try and do what he's hoping to do, which is play full-time both sides of the ball.
No.
I don't think that's realistic. I think this season proves that I don't know that that's necessarily a reality, and that we'll see what Jacksonville does with him start up next year. But I anticipate that they will use him far more as a wide receiver and sort of shut it down on letting him play a lot of defensive back. You know, he was their number one overall pick this last season. Yeah. And that's a lot of draft capital to spend on a guy that you're going to lose and not get a whole lot of production out on either side of the ball. So,
yeah, it's rough. I think, we're in an age of sports where you can't play both sides of the ball. And, when Deion Sanders was playing, you could. But that was
Deion Sanders didn't do it full time either.
He didn't do it full time either. Yeah, exactly.
Nobody did it full time.
It was a very, very we're at a point now where players are just way too strong and fast, and they hit way too hard. And they put their bodies to the extremes. And although cornerback and wide receiver are very similar, you're right. They're the opposites of each other when it comes to offense and defense. You have to train completely differently for it. And I just think Travis Hunter's body can't keep up with it, and it would be better to play him, pick a position and stick to it. Because he's a good player. Yeah. He's a good player, phenomenal in both ways in college. He played both sides of the ball really well. So
he did.
Let him pick one position to play and let him be good at that one position than getting a half production out of him, right? So
100%. And I mean, I watched both. I watched Deion Sanders in his prime, and Deion Sanders was a better football player, more athletic football player than Travis Hunter is. And Deion Sanders did not play both sides of the ball full time. Charles Woodson also played both sides of the ball. He's a defensive back mainly, as well as so was Deion Sanders. And they came in and they played. They had 5 or 8 plays here and again throughout the season.
Yeah,
and that's it. And then Deion Sanders also returned punts on occasion, but it wasn't a full-time thing. I don't think it's feasible. But we'll track and see what the rest of his. But we hadn't talked about him a lot, and I thought it was sort of an interesting story to see that he was out for the season.
Yeah, Yeah, it was a good mention. Now, I've got something that I'd like to bring up.
Let's do it.
The Buffalo Bills, man, they're a letdown. I think I've completely given up on them at this point in the year.
Completely given up on them.
I really
They're not
have.
going to make waves in AFC at all?
Dude, they've looked bad. They've looked really bad over the last couple of weeks. You know,
Josh Allen's looked bad. That's for dang sure.
What is the Buffalo Bills if not Josh Allen? Let's really think about it. I mean, we thought they had some. I mean, we know they have something in Cook, right? Cook is the running back that keeps that team moving. But like, even when they beat the Chiefs 2 weeks ago, it was still like a iffy game. Like, I don't know, man. It's just these last couple of weeks have been kind of iffy. Like, just straightforward. It's weird to watch them. I'm starting to lose hope in them. It feels like the Ravens have trended way up and the Bills have trended way down. And the Bills, you know, traditionally in the last couple of years have been the team that dominate the regular season. And then when we get to the postseason is when they struggle. So if they're struggling now, I'm starting to lose hope in them. And it is off the back of Josh Allen, who is playing a lot like he did his rookie season and a lot less like he's been playing in his MVP caliber seasons. So I don't know. I'm just starting to lose hope and lose faith in them. If James Cook isn't having an all-star game, it feels like they're not gonna win games. So, and they've got a schedule that is not favorable to them for the rest of the season, I think. So that's how I feel, man. I'm losing hope in them.
I would tend to agree with you on that, and probably. What really stands out to me, and obviously Josh Allen has not looked good. He is our fantasy quarterback, and that doesn't help that he's not looking all too good.
Nope.
But probably more concerning is that their head coach, Sean McDermott, is a defensive coach.
He's a defensive-minded guy.
That's what his thing. And so if you're going to be the head coach who's a defense first guy, then the defense better be really, really good. And traditionally, the Bills have been good with him as their head coach, but they gave up 30 points to the Dolphins last week.
30 points to the Dolphins,
that was 174 yards to one running back.
Yeah.
And Tua didn't throw for a ton of yards, but he's very efficient, 15 to 21 with 2 touchdowns. Achane, their running back, had 174 yards on almost 8-yard average with 2 touchdowns. And so just those 2 stats alone are kind of scary, because if you're not going to get good defensive performance, then that's a little bit concerning. So yeah, I agree with you. Any other topics before we go into picks?
Let me look through one more time.
I got one more because I was interested in this. Joe Burrow looks like he's going to try to make a comeback after Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And my note that I put in here is Burrow back won't help, because
I agree
that they're putting up points without him. I mean, without them, they're putting up 30+ points a game, and I don't see that he's going to come in. What are they going to put up? Instead of 32 points average, 35.
Yeah, so
they're not losing by 3 points.
In the last 3 games they've played, they've put up over 30 points a game, and they've lost 2 of those games. One was against the Jets.
Yeah.
Right. The
Go Jets.
And then before then, they put up an average of like 25 points a game. The 3 games before that, their offense isn't the problem, which is funny because you'd think it should be, but their defense has always been an issue, right? They've never had a outstanding solid defense since Joe Burrow's been there either. With the exception of their Super Bowl appearance, maybe.
No,
their defense has always been crappy.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I'm just now looking at it. I knew off the top of my head they've been doing good, but their last 3 games, they put up 42 points against the Bears, 38 points against the Jets, and 33 points against the Steelers, and they lost 2 of those 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them was to the Jets, that's their only win. And so I don't see Burrow coming back and putting up a whole lot more points than that. And so
their
for those
defense
Bengals fans out there, I don't see him doing anything to help.
If
I was Joe Burrow, I would take the rest of the season off.
I would too. I mean, their defense has allowed a league high 300 points. They've given up 300 points. The next closest team behind them is, oh my God, it's the Commanders with 280, I think. Yeah, it's the Commanders with 280. So they've let up an extra 3 touchdowns total. They've only put up 215 points in their games. It's bad.
I mean, the last 3 have been phenomenal. I mean, the last 3 have been awesome as far as points. That's a lot of points that they've put up. So
now here's the thing, right? If you are the Bengals and you are Joe Burrow, right? You are the starting quarterback for your team. And, right now, your division against all the other divisions, surprisingly, is the closest. The Steelers have 2 games on them, right? So,
the Steelers who look like garbage.
And the Steelers look like garbage have 2 games on them. Yeah, and the Ravens who are on a 3-game win streak, but the Ravens who also were exposed early on this year as a team that might not be all that. So, if you are Joe Burrow, saying I'm going to sit out the rest of the season is saying I'm giving up on this team, which you can't do, which means he probably is going to play. He's going to come back and play. And in all honesty, that's a bad decision for everybody because that defense is so bad and they didn't make any moves to make that defense better before the trade deadline. So, we'll see what happens. But I agree. Joe Burrow should not play football for the rest of this season. And if they need to get some serious offensive line help, and they need to fix their defense before he should play any more football. So,
yeah, and you're right. You're right. Can Joe Burrow really be healthy and claim that he can't play? I don't think that he could do that. By claiming that he's healthy and then deciding not to play. But if I was him, I would just, between me and the doctors, have an agreement that I'm not going to be healthy enough this year, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, Baltimore Ravens were 1-5. Staring down a lost season and have now won their last 3 and are now favored to win that division.
Yep.
At a significant amount, with Cincinnati having terrible odds to win the division and the Steelers having not very good odds either. And so I don't know. I just wrote that in my notes. Burrow back won't help because I don't think it's going to be of any help.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even talk about it except that Joe Burrow's, probably a top 5 quarterback. It depends on where you stand, who's making the argument. And so it'd be nice to have him come back, but it's just, if I was me,
I wouldn't play him. Yeah. All right. Well, we've wrapped that up. I mean, let's move on into our next segment, discussing next week's games. When we move on to this segment, we talk about, week 11 games coming up. We also bring up some stuff that happened in the week 10 games too, a little bit here and there. There are some teams we don't talk about. Okay. If we don't talk about your team, we're sorry. Your team sucks. There's nothing to talk about. Other than that, let's get right into it. First game, Thursday night in Foxborough, we've got the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Really don't have much to talk about here other than I think the Patriots keep rolling, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Jets had a great win, but they won off the back of 2 kick returns. So, Justin Fields still isn't productive, and the Patriots are the class of the NFL right now. They're tied for first in the league. So yeah, let's watch them Patriots keep it going with their rivalries jerseys on this week. Their Northeastern jerseys is what they're called.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. They look pretty clean, but yeah, I think this is an easy win for the Patriots. Vrabes should keep that ball rolling. Next one is another game we probably won't talk about very much. The Washington football team against the Miami Dolphins. There's a couple things of note we could talk about for each team if we wanted, but I'm just going to say something about Washington real quick. They are without a defensive lineman this week. I believe his name is something Payne. His last name's Payne. He punched Amon-Ra St. Brown in the face. In the face mask. In the middle of the game against the Lions last week. Weird altercations all around with Washington's defensive line. All game, they were kind of yapping and doing weird shit. And then at some point, I believe Mr. Payne pushed or shoved or said something to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown pushed him back in the face. And then, 2 to 3 plays later, guy walks up to Amon-Ra St. Brown and hits him with a right hook. And then he gets ejected from the game. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know why there's so many weird character issues with them, but he will be suspended for this game. I don't think it'll cause too much of a change on the outcome of the game, but yeah, man, Washington needs to figure out their what's it called? Their emotions?
What's it called?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word. They need to manage themselves better emotionally. Is really what it is.
No.
you don't need to be punching players. But yeah,
no, not a good look.
Yeah, there was a bit of a talk on the social medias about it. People saying like, well, he was justified in punching him because Amon-Ra punched him first. But like, if you watch it back, he's clearly jawing and pushing him around first, and then St. Brown just responds with a shove back, and everyone's like, oh, he punched him. And it's like, no, he didn't punch him. He pushed him back. Sorry, not sorry.
No.
So don't throw a full on right hook in front of the refs, and then have your teammate push a ref in response to you doing that. So
yeah.
It's a mess. Dolphins had a great win. We'll see if they continue rolling. It's in Miami. So,
okay.
Packers and Giants. This is another game I wanted to kind of discuss, even though it's a team we probably don't need to discuss anymore.
Okay.
Sorry, you're probably a bit confused because we wrote our games down in different order, but
well, in the order that
you wrote it down in the CBS Sportsbook order. You wrote it down in the CBS Sportsbook order. I wrote it a little bit differently. The only thing of note, well, I guess there's a couple things of note, but the thing on the Giants side is interim head coach means that the Packers have no idea what they're playing against because they're playing against a new quarterback and a new head coach this week. And in the past, as we've noticed, when an interim head coach comes in, usually a team plays a lot better. So we'll see.
Hold on. I gotta stop you real quick. Can you say interim again?
Interim?
Okay, that sounded better.
Did I say interim? Did I say interim?
Yeah, you said interim twice, and I had to make fun of you. So sorry.
Either way.
Okay.
The only other example we have this season is the Titans, and they played the Raiders, I believe, the first week they had their new head coach, and they scored more points than they had all season. I think they scored their first touchdown of the season. They still lost.
That's right. That's one of those Raiders big dubs.
But they did score points for the first time this year. So, hopefully with this new coach and this significantly better quarterback option, they might be able to do some magic, especially against a team like the Packers, who have in the last couple of weeks, I guess all season, have looked really slow and like worse. They've looked worse and worse every week. They've turned into a bit of a mess, so we'll see. I mean,
okay, so I got two pushbacks. One is backup quarterback this week coming into play is Jameis Winston.
Yes.
I would argue that Jameis Winston is not better than Jackson Dart.
You do not. You think famous? No, I'm saying famous Jameis over Russell Wilson. We know Jackson Dart's not playing. He's hurt. He's out.
I mean.
Yeah, the discussion is Russell Wilson and famous Jameis. We're not discussing Dart. Dart is significantly better than both of them. Yes, we know that.
Okay, so this is the first time we've had an opportunity to discuss Jameis Winston. And so this has nothing to do with the game. But those of you listening, please do yourself a favor and look up Jameis Winston eating W's. There's going to be, yes, if you're watching, my son is making a fool of himself. It does not do it justice. Jameis Winston is, if nothing else, a prolific character.
Love him.
He plays himself as much as he possibly can. And while I'm not sure that I'd want him on my team as my backup quarterback, if I could have him as my hype man, my sideline promoter, and my man who can, at least for a couple of weeks, bring an entire unity of team together as one, and make you feel really good about being a part of it, that's the guy. So if you have not ever seen it, please Google, however you look up stuff, do yourself.
Look up Jameis Winston playing in the snow.
Yeah.
Look at it all
anything with him, it'll make you laugh. It's not all about football at that point. It's just about a character. So
just
look that up.
Jameis Winston, yeah.
Second thing is Green Bay's going to kill the Giants, I think. I don't think this is going to do a whole lot.
This is their get-right game this after two rough losses? Yeah,
I think on the Green Bay side that you've got Micah Parsons, who was traded from Dallas to them, who's a phenomenal edge rusher. who's fighting in the media with some of the bigger talking
I
heads,
saw that.
going back and forth. And so look for him to be particularly pissed off this week. His specialty is rushing the passer. And so I anticipate that he's going to be teeing off this week. Excuse me. And so I think that's what's really going to be the tail of the game. But like I said, look up yourself some Eaton W's. Moving on. Next game you got?
Next game, I got the Texans at Titans. Let's move on from that game. Texans will probably beat the Titans.
At the Titans. Yeah, we can move on from that. Texans actually showed a little life last week with a comeback victory over Jacksonville. And scary as that might be, they may actually be.
People are saying they're so bad
for that division. However, there's not much to talk about here. We can carry on.
Next one. We got the Panthers at the Falcons. All I have to say about this game is fuck the Falcons. I'm a Panthers fan all the way.
Yeah, so Atlanta continues to do what Atlanta does, at least as far as I'm concerned, which is win when they're not supposed to, lose when they're not supposed to. They never do what they're supposed to. For that reason, I'm not a big fan of theirs. And then Carolina is what's Carolina? Are they 5-4?
They lost last week, right? Now they might be 5-5 now. They have
5-5. Okay, we should have looked at that.
Let me look it up.
But
I got it. They're 5-5. They are in 5-5.
They are exceeding my expectations. I mean, if they didn't win another game this year, they would have won as many games as I thought. And they're a little bit hot and cold too. So this is actually kind of a decent matchup of two teams that are just mind-boggling to me. But nothing in particular.
I have to say, before we go next, all I have to say is the Falcons beat good teams and they lose to bad teams. And
the Panthers I don't know which one Carolina is though.
The Panthers are in the middle, so I don't know, but I would put the Panthers on the side of bad team in my opinion, even though they have such a great record. So I think the Falcons are probably going to lose this one. Next game, Bears at Vikings. This is an interesting game. This is a very big game, first of all.
For the Lions.
It's a big one for the Lions, for the NFC North as a whole, right? With the Packers loss against the Eagles last night or 2 nights ago, whenever it happened. I guess this is coming up on Thursday, so 3 nights ago. The Lions and the Bears are now tied for first place in their division, both with 6-3 records. Ultimately, right now, I think the Bears are not favored to win. I think the Vikings are favored to beat the Bears. I think the Bears are a better football team. I do think the Bears will probably win this game. Ben Johnson has completely turned that offense around. He has gotten the best out of all of those players. And their defense, I believe, are getting key players back from all the injuries that they've had, or slowly, one by one. So when I look at it, the Bears keep trending up. And Mr. 9 and his alter ego, J.D. McCarthy and his alter ego 9, did not look too great last week. They kind of shit the bed entirely. So, you know, when I look at it head to head, like, I think this is genuinely a 50-50 game. I think either team could win, but like the Bears just have looked significantly better in every game they've played this year. With every game that goes on, they look more and more like a complete football team. And so, you know, I think the Bears are going to win. As a Lions fan, I don't want them to win. I would like it if they lost, but I just think they're a better team.
The Bears. So when you talk about the Bears, you're talking about Ben Johnson, new coach, and you talk about Caleb Williams, their number 1 draft pick 2 years ago, who has not played all that great. The significant difference or improvement over from last year to this year for Caleb Williams, the quarterback, is that he's not taking almost any sacks.
Yeah, they have a good O-line
which
now.
is a ginormous problem of last year. He, other than that, he looks a little bit better, not a ton better to me. And if you go back and look at the victories that the Bears have had, they are, I think, this year's team where you're going to look at in these 1 score or low margin of victory games that everything's fallen their way. You know, they easily could have lost the Raiders on a field goal. They barely came back on multiple occasions in the last couple of weeks on freak things that have happened. I actually don't think the Bears are significantly better. I think that they just are winning.
They're winning games when they need to. Yeah.
Games they normally don't. And I don't think that when a lot of these teams, it's not because of skill that they're much better. It's just that the football gods are lined up, and that's what's happening. I think that's what I don't. So, I don't see anything right now that I don't see. Caleb Williams is phenomenally different. I don't think that he's phenomenally better. I do think that Ben Johnson's doing a good job. I do think that they are better, but they've been dumpster fires with their coaches the last couple of years.
I'd agree. I mean, but again, I mean, if we look at it just straight up, like how they are winning games, right? They're finding themselves in very unfortunate positions, right? Against the Giants last week, they were very far behind. They came back and won.
The Giants, a hot mess team. Yeah.
Really good defense, though. Really good defense. Don't count the defense out. But either way,
better on paper than production. But yeah.
Either way, what I'm noticing from it, right, is as the season's gone on, that team has played much better. They've won games. They're winning games, right? They are winning their football games. And even if they're winning off of coin flips or 50-50s, if I'm saying that this game is a 50-50 head-to-head matchup, I think both teams are about equal. The Bears have proven that they win those games. So
okay, so my argument is this, and then I'll walk away from it. I have to give the Bears credit. They are 6-3. There are some improvements, and if you're a Bears fan, you feel good that you feel like they're trending the right way. But I will point out 3 games that they've won this year that a good team would not have had. It wouldn't even. They beat the Raiders on a blocked field goal, which the Raiders are a hot mess. They fired their special teams coach this last week because they are a absolute mess. Mm-hmm. They beat the Giants, who fired Dable because he'd given up significant 10-plus point fourth quarter leads to teams. And they beat the Bengals, who put up 42 on them. Yeah. And it took another bungled Bengals, shit show for them to lose. Any 3 of those, the Raiders, Giants, or Bengals, if those are good teams that the Bears are playing,
they lose.
And I mean like not even good teams. We're just talking top half of the league type of good teams. They lose all those games. Now the Bears can only play who the Bears are playing, so I can't take them away. But if you're talking about significantly different, the Lions 6-3 and the Bears 6-3 are different.
100%.
And my argument for that would be, like the Denver Broncos are 8-2. And they're nowhere near the same 8-2 as the Rams
or the Colts, right? Yeah,
or the Colts, right? So I mean, so that's where I'm coming at it from.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying.
I mean, if we want to do like a direct comparison to the teams that they've played, well, first of all, their first matchup, the Vikings won. The Vikings beat the Bears in week 1, right, by 3 points in Chicago, right? But then if you want to just do a direct comparison of what they played, the Vikings beat the Bengals 48-10, right? Or direct comparison to the Ravens games. They both play the Ravens, right? The Ravens beat both teams. The Vikings put up a little bit more of a fight than the Bears did, right?
And the Bears are playing the Vikings this week. The Vikings are not a good football team by most metrics, and the Vikings are favored by 3.
Because, again, in my head, it's a 50-50 game, except the Vikings have home field advantage, right? That's how I'd give it to them. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun one. It's probably one of the top games that I'll be watching this week. Sure. Not just because I'm an NFC North fan, but I think it's one of the best games to watch this week. Let's move on to the next one. Chargers at Jaguars. Okay. I think there's too much credit being given to the Jags. I do think they're a good football team. I've been high on the Duval Nation, but the Chargers are a much better football team, in my opinion, and that's with all the injuries that they have. So, it's been a long season, and I've tried to play devil's advocate for Trevor Lawrence, but at some point, that devil's advocacy needs to drop out, go away, because, man, he sucks.
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, dude, he sucks. He's so bad. I can't.
I think that was the point I made a couple weeks back, that they were winning in spite of him. I think I got a little bit of pushback from you then, but hopefully you're coming around.
I can't anymore. I can't give it to him. I tried so hard. I tried so hard to fight for him. I've been doing the best I can, but man, and maybe it's just me wanting him to succeed, but dude, 158, it's a touchdown and an interception. Like, dude, Davis Mills outclassed you. He outclassed you.
He ended the game last week with a pick 6 against the Texans.
Yeah, like, come on, dude.
And that's how the game ended. Like, and they were driving to attempt to win the game, and instead he threw a pick 6.
It's so bad.
To a defensive lineman.
He threw a big man touchdown. So,
So
I
okay,
mean,
moving
it's
on now.
bad. So
Yeah.
that should be an easy game for the Chargers. Bucks at Bills. This should be a phenomenal game, right? This should be an
Yeah.
amazing
Well,
football game. Um,
we shall see.
the Bucks have honestly the Bucks and the Bills both have two guys starting at quarterback who, 3 weeks ago people were like, "Man, these are the two front runners for MVP." And, since then, it's been a bit of a rough ride for Josh Allen, and for Baker at least, it's just been losses, right? Or
I
rough
think
games in general. So
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Yes, Baker Mayfield, quarterback for Tampa Bay, was definitely on everyone's MVP ballot. I think he can still be on the ballot. I'm not sure that he's the front runner right now anymore.
No, he's not the front
They
runner.
were winning some games that were like crazy. Like they were doing what the Bears have done all season.
Yeah.
And these incredible late game comebacks and everything was fired in the right direction. And there's another team. Tampa Bay is 6-3 as well.
They are 6-3. Yes.
I would take Tampa Bay 6-3 way over the Bears 6-3.
Well, yeah, they're 6-3. Their 3 losses come to the Eagles, the Lions, and the Pats. Like,
okay, so exactly. That just further my point about the Bears and 6-3 for the Bears. But anyways, this should be another great game. That was I think
this should be an awesome game
last week.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay against the Patriots last week was my big game of the week.
Yeah,
and Tampa Bay against Buffalo this week could be also a very good game. We're just gonna have to see which Tampa Bay team, which Buffalo team shows up.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Both teams are struggling. Let's see which team fights back because they both had a rough couple of weeks. Let's move on.
They both need a win.
They really do. They really do.
So, okay, go ahead. Next one.
Bengals at Steelers. Dude, I think the Steelers are gonna lose this game.
You got the Bengals in this one?
I think the Steelers might lose it. I don't have the Bengals in this game. I'm not decided yet. I just have a really weird feeling that the Bengals are going to win this game. It depends really on how the Steelers play, right? Are the Steelers is the Steelers defense going to wake up this week like they have in past weeks, like they did against the Colts?
Or 2 weeks ago they look like world beaters.
Are they going to play like they did against the Packers 3 weeks ago, or the Bengals 3 weeks ago when they lost 33-31, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to look? If the Steelers defense plays to the standard they should be playing at, they'll be fine. But I just got a feeling, man. I got a feeling that this Bengals team is going to show up and beat them again for the second time this year. So
yeah, I actually think the Bengals are going to win this game pretty easily.
You think they're going to convincingly win this game? After we trash on how poo-poo they are?
Well, I didn't trash how poo-poo they are.
Their defense.
I mean, yes, their defense is not good, but they put up so many points. And I think when you actually watch Pittsburgh with Ron Rodgers as a quarterback, that it's not going well. They started off pretty hot.
Really.
But it's not going well, and the frustration's starting to come out, and so there's some things. I think there's some cracks in the armor there, and I have no belief in Pittsburgh, and I actually have the Bengals comfortably winning this game.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't believe in the Pittsburgh's defense. They've only showed up one game that I can recall this whole season.
Yeah.
And that was 2 weeks ago. And I think that their offense has gotten progressively worse. They have no running game. They have no big plays over the top. So as crappy as Bengals defense is, I don't think that's going to hurt them. And I think the Bengals offensive firepower is going to actually prove the point of why I say Burrow shouldn't come back. I think they're going to put up their 30 plus, maybe even 40 points. Yeah. And Pittsburgh's not going to have an answer for that. So that's my thoughts on that. So we'll see.
Fair.
What you got?
I can't argue with that. Next one, Niners at Cardinals. This should also be a fun one. I think both teams are in a state of struggling, but not bad. The Cardinals record is not the best when you look at it, but also when you look at their division and who they play, you would then go, okay, well, maybe that's why they look like they have such a bad record. I mean, the Cardinals are playing in arguably the most competitive division in the NFL right now, with the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Niners, right, in their division. So it's a tough division. They lost to Seattle last week in a pretty, rough game.
No, they got the
highlight
annihilated.
the highlight of that right, of that game was Trey McBride for them. Trey McBride had like 140 yards in scrimmage yards, and like a touchdown. He looked great.
One touchdown, yeah. Wait, hold on, wait. What position
yes,
is
Trey tight end is the quarterback's best friend.
He's tight end.
This is me bringing up the exact thing. Woo! Trey McBride is the prime example of tight end as a quarterback's best friend.
And the quarterback for the Cardinals is a backup quarterback.
Well, he's actually a starter now because they've benched Kyler Murray. They can put him on IR all they want, but we know exactly what they did. They benched Kyler Murray because he sucks. Yep. But like when you look at it, they've played competitively against the Packers, the Colts. They lost both of those games, but they played really competitively in those games. They only lost by one score. They beat the Cowboys by 10, and they held the Cowboys, which is a really high-powered offense, to 17 points. So, we're not going to talk about their loss to the Titans. That was a weird one. But this year, they have shown that they can play games competitively. And so, against a Niners team that is beat and battered, they might make this game competitive. Do I think they're going to beat the Niners? No, I don't think they're going to beat the Niners. I think with Jacoby Brissett in at QB, they're going to have a better chance at beating them. But, the Niners are playing amazing football because they're super well coached, even with all their injuries. And Mac Jones is probably going to continue to play great football. So, also, just to let you know, 6 hours ago, Marvin Harrison Jr. was announced to not be playing the game.
No, I know.
Because he has an appendectomy.
Yep, he just had surgery this week for an emergency appendectomy. Yep.
Wow. So that sucks for the Cardinals because that's not even a football injury. That's a dude who got appendicitis. So.
No. Yep. Okay. What do we got next?
Next game is the Seahawks at the Rams, the other side of that division. This is the best game of the week. In my
game
opinion.
Of the week.
This is the game of the week, and there are 3 really good games this week, and we haven't even talked about them yet. But the Seahawks at the Rams is going to be a barn burner, dude. Both teams are going to be are going to be slinging that rock. Man, these teams are fun to watch, and I'm excited. I want the Seahawks to win, but I don't care who wins. This game's just going to be a fun game, hands down.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 game. It's a coin flip. Again, Rams are only favored by 3 because it is a coin toss, and the team who's at home is favored. The Rams don't have a home crowd, though, so we'll see what happens. I think there's going to be more Seahawks fans in those stands. I think that game's going to be a fun game. I mean, man, what do you say? Outside of Stafford playing perfect football, it seems like the last couple weeks, like it really is just going to be guys throwing tutties left and right and center.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite game of the day. You're right. It's just two really good football teams, and honestly,
it's arguably the best 2 teams in football right now, right?
Yeah, and I think that when you really, if you just the landscape of people who talk about football, who watch football, it's an argument as to which team's better, the Seahawks or the Rams, and I think that's a lot of people's Super Bowl picks at this point. I love it. Sam Darnold is quarterback for Seahawks and had a much maligned first couple years in the NFL. I have been a huge supporter of him the entire time, even through his downs.
Yeah, you have.
I've always supported him and what he brings. And he got stuck in a terrible situation the first couple teams he played for. But last year had a resurgence and a comeback. And I guarantee you that the Vikings, which is the team he played for last year, are kicking themselves that they let that guy go. But they did, and Seahawks picked him up, and he is proving to be all that, he's worth every penny that he's gotten paid. So for me, that's why I love it. But I like it. It's just 2 really good football teams on both sides of the ball. And those are just fun teams to watch. So that will, outside of when we'll get to it, the Lions game, because I think that game is also probably
really huge.
An argument for the really big, good game. But not just in great teams, but actually what it means. Far as what it actually means. I mean,
both of those games completely shake up what the playoff picture looks like in the NFC. Completely.
Yeah, the Rams and the Seahawks is huge for their division, but it's also for the conference, the NFC.
Yep.
And when we get to it, the Lions and Eagles is huge for the NFC as well. So, okay, next game.
Next game is my third best game of the week. It's the Chiefs at the Broncos.
Third best. Okay, you're gonna have to tell me why that. Oh, Chiefs at the Broncos. Okay, yeah.
Chiefs at the
Okay, go ahead.
Broncos. The 8-2 Broncos, tied for first in the AFC, are playing against the hot Chiefs. Chiefs have been hot. The Chiefs have done what I said they were going to do at the beginning of the season, which is start out slow and then start to roll and snowball into a really good football team. I think this is a great game for the pure reason of the Broncos have not figured out how to play offense at all this year. They're still struggling to figure it out, and their defense is playing really good football. So it's just going to be it's probably going to be a really low-scoring game, if I had to say anything about it. Probably be a low-scoring game, but I think this game will be either a really telling sign of the Broncos have figured it out, or it will be a telling sign of the Broncos are fraudulent and the Chiefs are going to run them over, and it's going to be a mess. So I'm excited for it. One way or another, I get to watch one team in the AFC West crumble, and as a secondhand Raiders fan, I get to enjoy that. So I get to enjoy that. So
obviously this is my division's matchup.
Yeah.
And the Broncos are in first place in the division. The Broncos are fraudulent. They are an absolute fraudulent 8-2 team.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Broncos fan, God bless you. You should enjoy this 8-2. If you're a Broncos fan, you should also know that
you're in trouble.
Your team is not that good. Yeah, your team is not that good. So enjoy the 8-2. If by some way that they continue to win the way they have been, I would not expect them to last out of the first round of the playoffs. So good on you. And I know that as I sit here wearing my Raiders stuff and a diehard Raiders fan, that you guys can all laugh at me. However, I think that when you look at yourselves in the mirror, you know that I'm telling you the truth, that 8-2 is a fraudulent 8-2. They are the worst 8-2 team in the NFL now.
Yeah, they
potentially could be the worst 8-2 team ever. But not to get too out of control with that. But as far as the game goes, let's see, Kansas City, and this one's favored by more than a field goal at the Broncos. And Broncos' home field advantage is significant, playing at the Mile High that they play at.
Mile High is one of the
to be the 8-2 team playing the 5-4 team, and be the underdog by more than a field goal tells you what Vegas thinks about it, and I think that is accurate. I think that it will be a knockdown, drag-out fight, and I think that I don't know that Andy Reid and his team and Patrick Mahomes are going to allow the fraudulent 8-2 Broncos to win that game.
Have a comeback win. Yeah, I agree.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it'll be fun to watch either way, again, Sean Payton is Sean Payton end of the day. And so that's going to be a fun game to watch. Next game, Ravens at Browns. Well, we're not really talking about the Browns anymore until they decide to put Shedeur in, because I really want to see that experiment kick off.
Head coach came out this week, but asked point blank and said, "Nah, that's not happening."
I don't think Stefanski's going to put him in at all this year, which might lead to him getting fired. In all honesty, I think that might lead to him getting fired. So,
and I think that based on what I know, what we know about the situation is that their head coach Kevin Stefanski for the Browns did not want to draft that quarterback.
I don't think he did either.
I think he was forced to by the owner, and I think that he will stand up in front of, he's not gonna play him unless he's absolutely forced to. And I think that whether he gets fired because of that situation or because he doesn't put him in, I think that he'll be fine with that. He didn't want Shedeur, I don't think anyway. So they could have used that pick on something that could have helped their team. So I don't know.
I agree. I mean, when you look at it, like we don't know what Shedeur is going to look like as a starting quarterback in the NFL until he starts as a quarterback in the NFL. So when that happens, it probably won't happen while Stefanski's the coach of the Browns.
Doesn't look like it.
I'd argue that in either this week or a couple weeks from now, Stefanski will be fired, and then it will be announced that Shedeur is starting, and then we will get to see what happens. And then Stefanski will either be proven right or wrong. What I can say is Baker Mayfield being traded away from that team was a terrible decision. They looked great when he was there, and I'm not sure what's happened to the Browns since that has all happened, but what I can say is, as a fan of the Lions and as a fan of Dan Campbell, I think Dan Campbell was wrongfully stripped of a Coach of the Year award in favor of Stefanski, like 2 to 3 years ago. I'm holding that grudge. Dan Campbell should have got it. So if Stefanski gets fired, that sucks. Good riddance.
That's why you don't like Stefanski. Okay.
No, I actually don't dislike Stefanski that much. I just think I just think he's been fucked, frankly, by having to be the coach of the Browns. It sucks, but man, you have one of the best defenses in the league, and you had Baker, and you had a great outlook for your team, and that team got thrown away. So, and you're the head coach of it all. So, he'll be fired, and I think the Ravens will beat him this week, though. The Browns, the dog pound ain't gonna look too lively this week. As
no, and just real quickly, because I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say something about the Ravens. The Ravens were 1-5. We actually questioned on this pod a couple weeks ago if their starting quarterback Lamar Jackson was quitting.
We did. That was the title of the episode. Yeah, when he sat himself out.
Yep, because he basically took himself out of a game that they were losing. They did not look good. And I think he was out 3 weeks, and they had their bye, and they've come back, and they have now won the last 3 games in a row. They went from a 1-5 team, which nobody makes the playoffs after starting 1-5, like literally nobody, to now having significantly better odds to win their division in Vegas, and are trending in the right way. And when you look at their schedule, they very easily could have a 10-win season.
They should probably win their division. I mean, what was it? It was 3 weeks ago we said the Ravens need to win this game. If they don't, their season's over. That was their must win. They were at their must win, right? And then they came out without Lamar in, with Huntley in, and convincingly beat the Bears. And then 2 weeks ago, they made the Dolphins look like who the Dolphins are, right? Which is a bad football team. Sorry. Oh my God. I'm so sorry for that. And then last week, made the Vikings look like crap too. So, their defense has been playing significantly better. Their offense looks like their offense should. They're averaging like 29 points a game in the last 3 weeks. And they're holding teams to an average of like 13 or 14 points a game. So they should be back, man. I mean, it's Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, and then it's Patriots, Packers, Steelers. So they've got 2 real games probably left this year, maybe 3. One of those Steelers games will probably be real, but the rest of them should be games that they should easily win if they continue playing like they're playing. So, good luck to the Ravens. Last 2 games of the week, both featuring our teams. First game, Sunday Night Football, Lions at Eagles. We've talked enough about the Lions. Let's talk a bit about the Eagles and what this game means for the NFC, as we've discussed a little bit already. First of things first, the Eagles looked pretty crappy last week against the the Packers. They looked terrible. They beat the Packers, but it wasn't a great game.
It was terrible. It was horrible to watch.
Yeah, the Packers.
It was the first time in like 15 years that a Monday Night Football game was scoreless in the first half. It was freaking terrible to watch.
It was bad.
Ugh. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley was held to 60 yards rushing total. Hurts had 180 yards passing. Do I think it was 2 really great defenses playing really good defense? No, I don't think so. I think it was just 2 football teams playing terrible football. They look like crap. I mean, maybe they pick it up this week, but like I'm concerned about both of those teams. I think I've said it. I said it earlier this year. The Eagles just have been finding ways to win, but are they? They're very similar to the Bucs, right? In fourth quarter, and the Bears too, right? They're finding these fourth quarter comebacks. We'll see if they continue to play good, but they're remiss. They are not. They're declining, right? So this game's gonna be huge for them. They need to beat the Lions, and if Dan Campbell keeps calling plays for the Lions, that offense will play hot. So, yeah, I mean, I'm leaning more towards the Lions, even though the Eagles are favored in this game. I think what's huge about this game, which I said we're going to discuss too, is the winner of this game kind of decides where the NFC is going, right? If the Lions beat the Eagles, there will be a new number 1 team in the NFC. It will be either the Seahawks or the Rams. And the Lions and Eagles will be even. I think the Lions will bump themselves up to the 2nd seed over the Eagles if they win this game. So this will be huge, right? If the Eagles end up winning, not much changes, right? The Lions will probably maintain their 3rd seed position, depending on how the Bucs play against the Bills. But
right,
there's a lot that happens here. End of the day, I think the Lions are going to win. So I think what's probably going to happen is the Lions will be 2nd seed. Seahawks or Rams are going to be 1st seed. And, we're going to be looking at a crazy last couple of weeks in the NFL. But, yeah, this is huge.
Yep. All right.
Last game. Address it.
Monday Night Football. Dallas at the Raiders. And that means that a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans planned their vacation this year around going to Vegas for this game.
Yep.
So that will be a stadium full of Dallas Cowboys fans who are there to party for the weekend. Dallas is favored by more than a field goal, and Dallas's defense is terrible.
But that offense is electric.
The offense for the Raiders is not great, so I'm not really optimistic
This is a rough matchup for the Raiders.
Yeah, I think all games are a rough matchup for the Raiders at this point, but
yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of positives to say about it. At this point, I'm not really looking at positives as far as like, I'm really looking after the fact to see sort of what is. All I can say is that every week I watch Max Crosby prepare for the game, and every week I watch him at the beginning of the games. It hurts my heart to see a player that good who gives so much of himself go out on the field and not get the same in return by everybody else on the football field. So, not much to say on it, to be quite honest. Just at a loss.
I think 2 bad defenses and then 1 good offense and 1 bad offense means that the good offense is probably going to win.
Yeah.
So,
the only change for the Raiders this week is that they fired the special teams coach.
Which was a good fire.
I don't know.
That was a good decision.
Their special teams was terrible.
It's been terrible.
Absolutely terrible. It's been, the worst I've ever seen. So
yeah.
So it's kind of shitty, to be quite honest. It's a rough way to end the week. I'd say probably that unless you're like me, a diehard Raiders fan or a huge Dallas fan hoping to get a win, a convincing, nice win, that football for the week kind of ends on Sunday night with the Lions-Eagles game. It's going to be kind of hard to end Sunday night watching what should be a very good football game or a game with 2 really good teams, and then wait for Monday night. Monday night might do something different.
Can't get worse than last Monday night game, right?
So now that you said it, who knows?
So we'll see. Let's move along into our fantasy segment, our final segment of every episode. Dad, let them know how we do it while I pull up last week's results.
We do it very simply. We basically just take what Vegas says the odds are, and we take the 2 matchups, and you and I pick we pick both. We pick the straight up, who's going to win and lose no matter what the point spread is.
Yep.
And then we also pick against the spread,
and
we just keep track for the whole year and see what happens.
Yep.
Keep in mind that if you are a better than 50% winner, as far as against the spread, you are phenomenal.
Yeah, you're doing really good.
As far as just straight up, that's just for fun. But it's been a tough season, I will say, for myself. I know that you're beating me.
Yeah.
Let's give them the results and then whip through these games.
So what you guys are looking at right now, to go along with his explanation, is on the left side is our straight up picks. Anything in green is a correct pick. If it's blue, it means the Lions won. Anything in red is a incorrect pick. So this week, straight up, I went 9-5, and you went 8-6, my friend. Only one real difference, so that was how that went. And then the right side is against the spread. That is against the Vegas odds. I went 8-6 against the spread, and you went 5-9 against the spread this week. Rough week for the both of us, although I stayed 500. So that is that. Let's move in to...
Let's get through it.
This week, let me get it up and appropriate and looking nice and pretty. Oh, man, I can't do it. Whatever, it's going to look like that this week. Either way, first things first, Jets at Patriots. Patriots are favored by 11 points. I have, on Thursday Night Football, I have the Pats winning this, and I have them winning it by a lot. So I have the Pats both ways. What say you, good sir?
The Pats, with the Jets covering that 11.
Okay. Next game, we have the Washington football team against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored by 2.5 at home. I am picking... Ooh, this is tough. I think I'm going to pick Miami to win this game both ways as well. I do believe that they're going to win by a field goal.
Yep, me too. I have the Fins winning both. Straight up and
right. Packers at Giants. The Packers are favored by 7 in this game against the Giants. I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to do it. I think the interim head coach, and the famous Jameis combination might shake things up a little too much for these Packers. I think they might win this football game, so I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to make that decision. I'm going to pick the Giants both ways.
Okay, I got Green Bay both ways.
Okay, that's the right decision. Texans, Titans. Texans favored by 6.5. I have the Texans winning, but the Titans covering.
I got Texans both ways.
Okie dokie. Panthers at Falcons. Falcons favored by 3.5. I have the Panthers winning this game.
I have Atlanta.
Okay. Both ways?
I got Atlanta both ways, yeah.
Okay, flip-flop. Bears at Vikings. Vikings by 3. Although I talked a lot of talk in favor of the Bears, I'm picking personally, I have the Vikings winning this game.
Okay. I have the Bears winning.
So we both go against what we talked about. That's funny.
Yeah, it is.
That's funny. But hey, we'll see. Chargers at Jaguars. The Jaguars are not favored to win at home. The Chargers have a 3-point spread on them. I have the Chargers both ways.
Me too. Easy.
Okay. Whoopsies. Doopsie. Hold on. I messed up our thingy. You had the Falcons both ways, correct?
Yep.
Sorry. I completely flubbed it. Make fun of me now if you want.
That's all right.
This and that. We both had the Texans both ways, correct?
Well, I have the Texans both ways, yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I have the Titans covering. I apologize.
Okay, next one.
Okay. Sorry, I'm fixing the last of it. And we both had the Chargers both ways. Next one, Bucks Bills. I have the Buccaneers winning this football game. Bills are favored by 5.5.
Tampa Bay at Buffalo in the weather. I've got Tampa Bay winning this game.
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm gonna take Buffalo to win.
Bills to cover.
This could be a nail biter. Yeah, and Tampa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Buffalo win, Tampa will cover. It's going to be they're going to win by. It's going to come down to it. So,
1-point game. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, something I don't know. Yeah.
Bengals at Steelers. Steelers by 5.5. I think we both agree that the Bengals are going to win this game.
Yeah, I already got it written down. Bengals. Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Dude, I'm messing up everything this week. Here we go. Niners at Cardinals. Niners are favored by 2.5, and I would tend to agree. I think the Niners are going to win this game. And I think they're going to cover that.
I got Cardinals.
Okay. Here's the one. Seahawks at Rams. Rams by
Rams.
3. Yeah, me too. I got Rams both ways. Stafford's on too much of a hot streak, and I think that defense is better. Chiefs at Broncos. Chiefs by 3.5. I'll be the one who says it. I'll pick the Broncos to win. I'll do it.
Why?
Because I think they will. I don't know why, but this is the week for the Broncos to prove that they actually are good. And if they don't, then they don't. Yeah, but
they're not good.
But
I don't even know how good the Chiefs are, but the Broncos are not.
Again, when I get to games where it's a coin flip to me, I pick with my heart, and I really don't want the Chiefs to win this game. So, Ravens at Browns. Ravens by 7.5. I'm gonna pick the Ravens to win, but the Browns to cover.
I got the Ravens both.
Okie dokie. Lions in Philly against the Eagles. Eagles are favored by 2.5. I have the Lions both ways.
Yeah, I do too. I think it. I don't know, man. The Eagles keep winning, but I'm sticking with the Lions. I think they're gonna win by more.
I agree. Last game, Cowboys at Raiders. Cowboys by 3.5. I hate to do this to you, but the Cowboys are going to beat the Raiders by more than 3.5 points.
No. Let's see. 1 plus minus carry. Terry to 3. Yeah, Raiders get their asses kicked. Dallas.
All righty. That is it. Take a look. Those are our picks for the week. Let's see if we are both right or both wrong next week. Let me move away from that.
All right.
Thank you all for watching this show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all for stopping by this week. We appreciate your viewership. We hope to see you next week if you made it this far. Peace and love. We've been Two Vits talking shit. See you later.